good evening. Welcome to my show, Jamaica's Best Kept Secret. Well, I just want to start off by saying thanks, Sandra, for giving me the idea of putting a show together and bringing a taste of my kitchen to your home. Now, this idea came about where she says, Janet, everywhere you go, you love to cook. People are always talking about your cooking. And whenever we ask you what it is you put in your food, you always say, I cook with love. And to prove that I do cook with love, everything that I use in my recipe is what you have in front of you right now. So let me just give you a back up and let me give you a brief history of where I'm coming from. I am Jamaican. I left the beautiful island of Jamaica, even though to me it's too hot. So that's all right, especially at my age with hot flash. I need this country. So anyway, I've been in this country for over 40 years. But even though I've been over 40 years, I never lost my Jamaican accent. I never lost touch of my traditional ways of cooking. I'm grateful to say I have a mom that's a chef. I have a father that's a chef. So wherever I went when I was a kid, there was always cooking around me. Prime example, my dad owned his own Jamaican restaurant in Bronx, New York, on 222nd on Bronxwood Avenue, called Ronnie Bob's Jamaican Kitchen. And he worked there until he retired. My mother still owns her own restaurant, Island Style, located on the borderline of East Cleveland and Cleveland Heights on Noble Road. She not only does cooking, she's baking, she's doing jerk turkey come Thanksgiving for orders. Right now she's doing rum cake, trust me, for the Christmas holiday. And then me now, Janet. I owned my own restaurant called the Patty Express. I lasted for 4 years. Yeah, just a baby almost out of diaper. But I had to give it up. It was too much. I still got calluses from it. But all I can tell you, I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed meeting the amount of people that I met at the time when I opened my restaurant, and people are still asking me, when are you going to reopen? So I do hope that some of my previous customers who are friends with me on social media do follow my shows. So even though they can't get a hold of the Patty Express, they get a hold of Jamaica's Best Kept Secret in their kitchen, and they have to do the work themselves this time. So, I decided to go off to college and get a degree. I want to be this corporate woman, but the cooking is still in me, So what I would like to do is to get kind of serious and talk about what are the necessary tools to cook Jamaican food. Now, one of the things most important is that when we use our oils, I like to use the traditional coconut oil that I grew up on in Jamaica. But for people who are allergic to nuts, please check with your doctors before you say, well, Jamaica's Best Kept Secret tell me to use coconut oil, and no, look what happened. No, I don't want to be blamed for that. So please make sure you check with your doctor if you can use coconut oil in your cooking before you decide to use our food. Because my mom, for example, doesn't use coconut oil, or my dad. I use coconut oil, and all of our food still tastes good. I just like to go all the way out, okay? Another thing is I try to get away from a lot of seasoning. So I use this Badaya seasoning a lot because it doesn't have too much salt. It's more herbs in it. So I can sprinkle as much herb as possible, and it doesn't come out too salty. And my adobo seasoning, this is what I use when it comes to the salt part of my seasoning. But if after I rub up the food and the food is cooking and I taste it and it tastes kind of fresh, that's when I go into my sea salt. I use my sea salt instead of the regular salt, but I still keep the regular salt around because my kids are afraid of this. I don't know why. Another popular spice in our kitchen is the Jamaican browning. You'll see it whenever you see us whenever you eat our food, you're eating and something is brown. This is what one of our secret is, Jamaican browning. Not only do we use our brownings in our meat, we also use our browning in some of our pastries, like our Jamaican rum cake. And every Jamaican house needs to have some jerk sauce. Have to have jerk sauce. I don't care how much you want to dock up your food and say, this is my jerk seasoning. Trust and believe. Once you hit a touch of this or a buckle of Walker's Wood, it take your seasoning to our next level. So I always have this on hand. Another important thing is our allspice berries. I don't like to buy the grounded allspice. I like to buy the whole, because whenever you freshly ground it right before you use it, you have this robust flavor that just comes straight throughout your whole food. I use it in my rice and peas, and you'll see me use it a lot in my stews. But you have to be careful, because you bite into this, it just spoils the whole appetite, trust and believe. So you have to make sure you grind it up and you don't overuse it. So I'll be trying to work with it with measurement as I go through my recipes. Another thing that I highly recommend is a spice rack. This makes it easier. Well, more than half of these in here I'm not going to use because I don't know how to use them. I tried using a few of them the other day when I did some buffalo chicken, and it was pretty good. But I stayed to the herbs and stay away from the salt. So it was pretty good. Another thing that you will see in Jamaican kitchen is ginger root and fresh garlic. Not only do we use these in our spice, in our foods, we also use this. We keep these on hand just in case we get some kind of sickness coming on. These are always on hand. And I also like to keep something tropical, like they call it pomegranate here, me call it ponganat. And my lemon. I do that I always keep these on hand, and my aloe vera. So one of the time you will see me showing you how to juice aloe. Trust and believe. This is, people say, Janet, why you look so young? I tell them it's aloe vera and Vaseline. Pots. I like to go to the heavy pots. This is going to be a pot for my stews, like my soup or stew peas and rice when I'm cooking. I like, or then I have a smaller one to this for my rice pot. But please, I try to tell people, if you can afford it, get the heavier pots, because we do a lot of stewing and simmering. So the heavier the pot, to me, the more it can handle the heat, where you don't have to worry about things burning too much. But for those of you who want to go ahead and say, you know what, in this economy, I can't afford no heavy pots. So, this is another heavy one. I cannot wait to start my demonstration. See? Label still there on there. So anyway, for those of you who cannot afford to go and get the heavier pots, Marshall's is my best buddy. It makes me feel like I have money even though I'm broke. But just gauge your fire. Turn your fire down lower than what you would see me turn it down or hear me talk about turning it down for the heavier pots as we are cooking. And the last but not least, cutting boards. We do a lot of chopping. I do a lot of cutting and chopping. So to prevent cross contamination, I have one board for my meat, one side for the chicken, this side for whatever other meat, and this is my vegetable board or pasta or whatever. Just to prevent cross contamination, I like to keep 2 cutting boards on hand. Measuring cups, please get some. Even me have to learn how to do measuring, because I'm used to a dash of this and a dash of that, a dash of this and a dash of that. But my goal is to make sure that everyone enjoy the food and people can come back and say the food tastes exactly like how I remembered when I taste her food, or go watch her show, because trust and believe, her food, you're not going to regret it. So, to wrap things up, I just want to let you know, please tune into my show. We do plan on releasing a different show every Thursday. And looking forward to positive reviews, negative reviews, because the negative is called coaching for me. Just kind of just have some mercy upon me. And I'll see you come January 2021. Bye.